Okay, so I am officially recording. So okay, I don't have a lot to cover for today. I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of what's going to be happening this week. Um, so let me get myself together. All right. So for starters, I have graded you all's database, and um, there were, when I graded the database, I actually attached to the grade book with comments what was wrong. So when you open the databases, if you haven't already opened the databases and you haven't already looked at my comments, please make sure you do so. But I can kind of explain to you what my comments consisted of. So um, when you open the database that I have attached, for both of them, you're going to see highlighted areas. The highlighted areas show you all of the errors or show you the error that was made on that particular box. For example, um, if you did not put the birthday in the right format, and you did it for every single patient that it was incorrect, that was a point. So if you did it incorrectly for all 20 patients, that was 20 full points. So in the instructions, the date of birth were to be written as a 2-digit month dash a 2-digit day dash a 2-digit year. So if you put all of that, but you put slashes for each one of them, every one of them would kind of off wrong. Or let's say, for an example, you did that, but some of them you only put 1 digit for the month or 1 digit for the day. So, like when you have months like April and May, yeah, they're single digit months, but you have to put a preceding zero before them. Most softwares are set up where when it comes to inputting that kind of stuff, it requires you to do 2 digit for the month and the day. Now, not all software will require you to do a 2 digit year. Some will require a 4 digit year. That's very key for individuals working in your billing department that's doing claims. And it just kind of depends, even though it's a CMS 1500 software, if whoever set up the software, if they set it up to default to be a 4 digit year or a 2 digit year, the individuals that are being trained on that software, they'll know that. So what I did was I specifically stated what I wanted. And if there was anything outside of that, that was counted off. Okay. For the abbreviations, remember, for the abbreviations, I only said that you can use F for female, M for male, M for married, S single, S single, W widow, D divorced. Those were the only things you were allowed to use abbreviations for. For the race, you could not use an abbreviation for that. You had to actually spell that out. White, black, Hispanic. So if you did that on multiple ones, or if you did it on all 20, that was like 24 points. Some other things that I noticed were, okay, when you type up avenue and you put it abbreviated, or you type up streets and you put it abbreviated, you have to put the period back there. You can't just say ST or AVE. So you got to remember to do that. On a couple of them, I kind of let it slide. On a couple of them, you had like an AVE, and I just kind of let it slide. I didn't, mark it off. But when I saw it again, I marked it off on that one, that particular time. Some other things I noticed was for the state, you can't have a capital letter and a small letter. So if it's Alabama, it's got to be capital A, capital L. It can't be capital A and small letter L. That's not the correct format for doing states. So, that's why I told you all that I'm very picky when it comes to the databases, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm the CEO. So if I placed you as a manager, if I'm higher in higher administration and I placed you at a facility, and you're not just running the operational piece, and the operational piece is the hiring and the firing and the scheduling and the budgeting. You're not just doing that, you're actually having to prepare reports, and those are reports that come to me that I take to the other administrators or to the key stakeholders that's part of the company. And those are things that we look at to decide what changes need to be made company wide. So if you're sending me information and you can't format it the way that I'm asking you to format it, or format it in a way that's presentable to the board, for me as a CEO, that's a problem. And I want you to look at it from that aspect, because don't allow employees, if you got somebody, like say for instance you got a night manager, because you work in, let's say for instance you're managing a nursing home or a hospice facility. So of course you're not going to work 24 hours a day. You're going to work your 8 to 10 hours, 12-hour shifts, and then you're going home, because you have managers, shift managers in place. If you know you got RNs that's working for your facility, then you already know you got nurse managers for your second and third shift. There's no reason for you to be there. And they ought to be trained and well versed in their position, where anything that happens, unless it's just absolutely beyond them, they shouldn't have to contact you for anything. Okay, so let's say for an example, you've been mandated with the task of a report at the end of the night being completed and sent to you by the very next morning. Okay, when you open that report, whether it's a database or it's a Microsoft Word document, no matter what it is, you don't want that coming to you any kind of way, because you can look at a report and tell when the person that did the report really didn't want to do it, because it's going to have a lot of grammatical errors. It's not going to be formatted the way it needs to be. Some of it you're not going to understand, and it's just not going to look right. When you open a report and you got let's just say for instance, you got patient names and date of births, and everything's so misformatted. Like you got some date of births with slashes, some with dashes, some with 1 digit, some with 2 digits. You got patients' names. Some of them are capitalized properly, some of them are lowercase. When you get something like that, and the first thing that you're looking at when you open a report, you need to be looking at the format of it. Because truth be told, if it's not formatted for you to be able to read and understand it, don't even waste your time with it. Send it back to the person that sent it to you and say, hey, I really need you to brush this up a little bit, because what is all of this? And why is this so? Because a person that works under you, if they're really detail oriented and if they're organized, that's the key. That's how you know they're not organized. If they organized, then guess what? When you open up that report, it's going to be beautiful. They might have 1 or 2 errors, maybe. But for the most part, it's a very nice document. When you are working, and you're going to find this out, when you get out here into these medical fields working with these higher, I'm talking about these suited people, the people that walk around in suits all day, they're going to critique everything that you do from A to Z. Because for them, it's not about the mistakes they make, it's about the mistakes you make. A lot of individuals will grade you on your ability to be able to do your job based on reports that you send, memos that you type, letters that you write up. Yeah, they do. And the first thing come to their mind is, I got somebody in this position and they don't even know how to create a database. They don't know how to write a letter. They got all these grammatical errors. Because you got some of them, they want you to cross all of your T's, dot all of your I's, and they really want 0% clerical error. And I know that may sound like elementary to you, but when you're starting out as a manager over a facility, you're being watched by a higher administration, because they clearly got to make sure, beyond any other training that you've had, you're now in this management position. Can you do the job? And I'm telling you, your jobs is not just about scheduling, hiring, firing, and telling folks what to do. No, you have to prepare reports, even with budgeting. So I gave you the radiology database because you can be one number off and it messes up the entire report. So if I said that for mammograms, there were 0 procedures done on the wrong site, but let's say for instance you say there was 8. When you get ready to tally up your totals, they're going to be off. I'm going to tell you something about that kind of stuff because when I worked in the hospital, I worked in a department. Even though I worked in point of care testing, I also worked in quality management. So I got an opportunity to go to a lot of the meetings that managers sat around and had. They were like the quality people. It was all them, us, and nurse managers, and not really a CEO person at the time. It was just kind of like us. So they take reports that you send to your head person, and those reports are handed out for others to see, and they're put on a projector for others to see. So when they have those type of meetings, those meetings are designed to tell them what areas they need to improve, what areas they're already improving in, and what areas they're doing great in. So when you're given numbers and when it boils down to numbers that you're giving, you've got to make sure that data is accurate because that data is then copied and put before an administrative staff. And they're looking at that, and that's what they determine are the weaknesses and the strengths of the organization. But if the data is incorrect, that does them no good. So that's why when I give those kind of databases, you've got to make sure that when you're copying and looking at your numbers, you got to go back and double check yourself. And I think that's one of the things that kind of get a lot of people caught up is that they complete the work, but there's never a review. Anytime you're getting ready to send anything to anybody, if it's just your staff, a higher up person, it doesn't matter. Always go back and review and make sure you don't have any errors because you can be typing so fast and going so fast, you can get interrupted. And that's the thing about doing databases and numbers, especially. Working in a managed job, unfortunately, you might want to just shut your door, close your door, and be like, I ain't finna be bothered, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But when you operate a nursing home and a hospice care facility, that's not easy to do. And I guarantee you, you can mark my word, those managers that run them facilities and go up in there and shut them doors, and you don't see them, they can't tell you about hardly nothing going on at the facility. Nothing. Things will be going on, they won't even have a clue. They can't tell you about no sexual harassment. They can't tell you about employees they can't tell you. You know why? Because they stay cooped up inside that office and they're not out there in the know. So as a manager, you got to have an open door policy. You never know when something's going to happen. And you could be right in the midst of doing something and somebody come and interrupt you. So guess what you got to do? You have to find a place that if I stop here, this is where I pick back up. And even every time you do that, before you send that report or before you send that email or before you print that memo for the staff to read, look at it. You'll be surprised because I done been in some meetings. Supervisor call us to a meeting and she done wrote up this memo or he done typed up this memo. And when I see them grammatical errors, the very first thing come to my mind is, it's mighty funny how they can call a meeting and tell us what we can and cannot do and what we've been doing and, just get us told, but they don't know how to spell. I've said that about managers. I'm going to be honest with you. I've said it. I have. Because that goes a long way with me. Don't call me out. And then you done sit up here and type this letter and you got 10 or 15 errors up in here. No. Started off, the date was wrong from the beginning. You don't put yesterday's date. We on today. See, it's little stuff like that. So you have to be careful as managers. So when I grade databases, I grade them hard. I really do. Students were stressed over my grading, not the work, because they did it, and I had one. Oh my goodness. Every database I get, just about every database every week, she and I fussed about lowercase and uppercase letters. She just would not do it for whatever reason. And I worked with her and worked with her. I said, you have got to slow down. It was that we argued about that. We argued about phone numbers. We argued about date of birth. She just would not do it. And she was the type of person, she didn't want to go back and review it. When she hit that last thing, that last sale, and put that last little bit of information, she hit saved and sent it to him. She ain't go proofread anything. We stayed into it about that. And so I was trying to reiterate to her, I'm doing this because I don't want you to be frowned upon. And it looks as if you don't know how to grammatically print or type a report up or create a report. I just don't want it to look like that in the eyes of somebody. So when you all are looking at your databases and you're opening up what I highlighted, I need you to look at the errors that you made, because most students make those same errors on the final project. And I'm telling you, the final project is one of those things you can get A+ on that thing. Seriously though, you might have one or two errors, maybe, but you can actually knock it out the park. You really can't. It's a lot of material to put in at once in one setting, but it can be done. But if you don't get a grip on the errors that you're making early on, you're going to have issues with it when it comes time to do it. And that's going to be next week on next Tuesday. So, y'all have any questions so far?
How do we go about to get a new database to change it, to correct the wrong errors that we made?
Even if you correct them, you won't send them to me.
I know I'm just going to have it for when I get ready to do the rest of the stuff I got to put on the database.
So
we got to do another one next week?
You do, but this...
Don't they both join?
No, that depends. That depends on what I get.
Okay.
Because see, like, I could give you a database next week, totally different patients with totally different information.
Okay.
And I do that.
Okay.
So, but I have you to save the database, because if I need you to go back and open up that data, because I'm going to go ahead and tell you on the database that you all did last week, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to have to go back to that same database. You named that first sheet demographics. You're going to go back and put some information in on those patients, but you're going to be you're going to be in the same database, but you're going to be on sheet number 2 and possibly sheet number 3. I know sheet number 2, you're going to have to rename that sheet. It will be the same patients, but now you're doing some different information. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
But now here's the kicker.
Uh-huh.
Here's the kicker. When you go back to that same database, you've got to fix the errors that were there. You're going to fix them, but you only go, and the only reason you're fixing them is because now you're sending me a brand new database, same information from before, but I don't need to see the same errors. So that's why I'm telling you all to open the database. It's not for the radiologist, this is for that demographic. Open the database and look at each one of the errors and fix them. Because if you don't fix them same errors along with your new errors on the new sheet, now they get counted off. You can end up with a 0 on your database because you can only make 50 errors because it's only worth 50 points. So you can't make more than 50 errors. You make more than 50 errors, that's a 0. If you got the same, let's say for instance, this first one, you got like 25 errors. And then on this second one, you got like 15. So if you got 25 on the first one, and then you turn around and get 15 on the second one, that's 40 errors. That means out of 50 points, you only got 10 points. And you could have reduced yourself and only been counted off the 15 on the new sheet. If you go back and correct the other, then you could have got 35 out of 50. So that's how I do it, because I can't let you keep turning in the same error over and over and over again. And I do that so it will grab your attention. So like, I know that the one that you're going to do tomorrow, it's going to be like that. Now, you're going to be putting in some new information, same patient. So yeah, you're going to have to do first name and all that kind of stuff. But you're going to be putting in some different information on that patient. But you got to remember to go back to sheet number 1, the demographics, and fix that. Because guess what? You send that database to me. If I'm looking at reports that you sent to me, I'm not just looking at sheet number 1. I'm looking at sheet number 1, 2, 3. If I'm head person, I'm doing an audit. I'm not just looking at one page. I'm looking at everything that's included in that database, because I'm trying to find an error. Something went wrong. Something didn't do right. I don't know where it's at. So me, I'm looking at everything. So if I go back in sheet number 1 and I see that you hadn't fixed those errors, because one of my instructions on that sheet, I can go ahead and tell you, one of the instructions, that's why I always say read your instructions first. It's going to be listed in there to unhighlight sheet number 1, like the demographics, everything that's got a highlight, you're going to have to unhighlight it. You can't send it back to me highlighted. You got to unhighlight that, because now that's a brand new sheet. Because
how you unhighlight it?
When you go up there and click on the cell and hit your, let's see, let me open up a Microsoft Excel. I can tell you. So, all right, so when you look at it, it's going to be highlighted. So you will click on the cell, the actual cell. Let me see. Let me show you my screen. Hold up. I'm going to show you all my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
I was on my cell phone. I went on the iPad and kept messing up last week.
So you're not on the computer, Kiana? Are you on the computer?
I'm on the computer, but I went in. I was in my Excel.
I can see it.
Okay. So Mary, you still not on the computer?
I am on the computer, but I went in the
Okay, I need you to.
I wasn't talking on my computer.
Okay, I need you to go inside, because I need you to be able to see this Excel sheet that I have pulled up.
Okay. Can I pull it up?
Let me type it here. And let me know when you're in there, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, Mary, while we waiting on you to get into there, let me go ahead and make mention. Y'all have y'all midterm that's due tonight. Okay, it's about 80 questions. You have an hour and 45 minutes. So I gave you, it's all multiple choice. All multiple choice. So I gave you, normally that's an hour and 20 minutes, but I gave you an extra, I want to say 25 minutes. Yes, I gave you an extra 45 minutes on, but
Yes.
it's all multiple choice, okay? You have your first initial post for your threaded discussion. Those are the two things that's got to be done tonight. If all else fails, you can't get that post in. You got to get your midterm exam in. You got to make sure that you hit the submit button. You got to make sure that you hit that button. Otherwise, I'm just going to grade what you completed and what you got correct. So you got to make sure you hit the submit button. The journal, of course, you can turn that in tomorrow night. You don't have to turn it in tonight. You can turn it in tomorrow. You in there yet, Mary?
I'm trying. I think I'm almost there.
Okay, I'll just keep
I
talking.
got a question.
Okay.
I got a question while you're in Excel. How do we format the cells? Like the birth date, when we put in the birth dates in the format that you wanted?
When I say format the birthday, I'm talking about like if a patient is born July 1st.
I understand what you were saying. I was saying it was a certain format that I had to use to get the birthdays in there without the slashes coming up. But I
I
guess I'm asking, is there a way that we can format the cell where to put the birthdays in?
You have to be doing it. When you do this right here, hold up. Look at me. 07-17-17. Oh, you talking about that right there. Okay, so what you do is you go up here to, let's see. You right click, format cells, and it should be one for date of birth. So you go up here and you're doing like date. So you see where it's got the type at right here? So try to find one. Let's see. If they don't have like what you're looking for, because they won't have like all of them, you can always do custom.
Okay.
And then you can say month, day, dash, YY, and hit OK.
Okay.
Got it?
Okay. I'm going to try it.
And then if all else fails, Kiana, so let's say, for instance, in this cell, you had this right here. So, let's see. So you got that. What you will need to do, you will have to take the time to just go do this.
Miss Gaines, I think I'm in there, but I can't see anything. Oh, I can see it now. I'm in here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm in it.
That's the way you're going to have to do that, Kiana.
Okay.
Is you go
just have to go and customize it.
Go in there.
That was my question, how to customize it, because
if it don't
I was catching hell trying to do that.
If it don't have exactly what you want, you go in there customize. This is why I really don't like to do Excel for this class, because had you been in database, Access database, you wouldn't have that problem. But because and I'm gonna tell you why. Microsoft Access is designed for that kind of stuff. It's designed for this kind of stuff. With Excel, it can do it, but you're gonna have to be trying to format a lot of your different cells and stuff. Whereas in Microsoft Access, it's pretty much you telling it what type of heading you're doing, and it just knows what to do. Excel, you just kind of have to do an extra step or two. But to prevent you all from having to come to campus and all that kind of stuff, I can work with Excel. It's just that you've got to follow your instructions a little bit more carefully with Excel. Does it make sense? So, Mary,
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is what Kiana was saying. She was asking the question, when you go ahead and format the date of birth, even though you may say, let me try different. So just watch this. So 8-25-17. So 2-digit month, 2-digit day, 2-digit year. But when you hit enter, it changes to slashes. You have to go up here and format the cell. So the way you format, you go back to that cell, you right click. You writing this down, Mary? That's why I'm going step by step. Mary, can you hear me? Hello?
I'm still here.
I don't hear.
Here
Mary?
I am. I didn't hear you. I hear you now, but I didn't hear you then. My thing keeps saying audio connection and keep going out and coming back in on my computer.
That's on your end. Okay. So you go
Yeah.
up here. I'm trying to give you step by step so you can write them down.
Okay.
Okay, so you gonna have to format these cells to do these data bursts like this, okay? So you will go up here and click on the cell that you need to format. Can you hear me, Mary?
I can hear you.
Okay, so you click on the cell, and then while you have the cell, the way you know you have a cell lit up is when you put the black part around it, okay?
Uh-huh.
So now you right click on that cell to get your drop down box,
Okay.
and you click on the word format cells. Got it?
Wait a minute. Right click and then go to
Format cells.
format. Okay, format cells. Format. I got it.
All right, now when you do that, it's going to open up this dialog box, okay? It's going to automatically have date as a default.
Excuse me.
It's going to automatically have date as a default because it can look to see that you're trying to put a date in of some sort. All it recognizes that you're trying to put a date in. It don't necessarily recognize you're trying to put a date of birth in. So because you're trying to put a date in, the types that's going to be defaulted in the system are the ones you see listed here. And
Mhm.
none of those coincide with what I'm asking for. So that means you have to customize what I need. So you're going to have to go over here and click on the custom button.
Custom button.
hmm And even when you click on the custom button, the system has defaulted one. Again, they don't comply with what I need. So what you're going to have to do while the custom button is lit, you go up here in the box that says type and backspace all that stuff out, right? And you're going to customize by typing in what you want those cells to say or how you want them to look. So are you with me so far, Mary?
Wait a minute. Go.
Kiana, you understand
I'm,
it, right?
I'm getting it. I'm
Yes,
getting it. All right.
yes, I understand.
Okay. All right, Mary, you got custom lit up?
Uh-huh.
All right, now you see in the type box, you should see a cursor because I backspace all this.
I do.
All right, so what
I
you
do.
do in that box, you're going to put MM dash DD dash YY. Now look at the sample box. You see the sample box right above it?
Uh-huh.
That's how your date of birth need to look. Your date
Okay.
of birth, your date of births. Anytime I tell you to put in a date of service, any kind of date that you're doing for me will always be in this format. Okay? So once you type in how you want it to look, then you just hit the OK button. And then if you notice that dialog box go away, the cell is still lit around the date of birth, and now it's correct like it should be.
Okay.
So let me show you this. So let's say for instance you're gonna put in the next patient right up under there, and let's say for instance that patient got 09 21 54. Okay, and you hit enter. You see what that did? See how I changed it to slashes?
Uh-huh.
That's because you only format this top sale. So if you got 4, 5 more patients, you're going to have to drag to format these other ones. Okay? You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Even though it's got these numbers the way it do, it's because it just did in chronological order. You just delete that out. But when you go back up here to start putting your patients in, you should have no problem. That same patient, 21-54. Now when I hit enter, you see how it's doing like it's supposed to?
Yeah.
See what I'm talking about? That's because you took it and dragged it down to format.
I see.
You see what I'm saying? Every cell like you wanted it. So that's how you do your date of birth. But you have to format that. My instructions just tell you how to format it.
Okay.
If you ever get into a bind and you just cannot figure out how to format something, you need to go up there, hit your help button in Excel or Google it, and it'll tell you step by step. It'll tell you just what I told you, step by step, how you need to do. But you got to make sure it's in the format that I'm asking for. Okay? Now,
Okay.
when you got the highlights, when y'all open up your attachments, and we're just about through, when you open up your attachments, that demographic gonna have highlights on it. The way you take out the highlight, you go up here and click on the cell that's highlighted. Even if it was this whole row. Let's just say, for instance, I had that whole row, and I'll do it. Let me just do it. So let's say you missed that, all of them right there. What you would do is go up here, click one time.
And drag it down.
Yeah, drag it down to copy everything, highlight everything, okay? Then you see this button up here that look like a paintbrush. It's the field. The field. You hit that arrow next to it. You see the dialog box on my screen? Hit down here that says no field, and it'll take the highlight off.
Okay. Drag it down. And hit.
Go up here to this button right here. It looks like a paint bucket. It's a field color. So you click the.
Yeah, I got one of them on my thing. A paint bucket.
Click the arrow next to it, and then click on no field, and it'll take the highlight off.
Okay. Click on no field. Okay, I got it.
Okay, that'll take the highlight off. When you send me databases, nothing should be highlighted on the database. I do the highlight. So guess what? If you send me a database, even if you done made the change, if I see the highlight on it, I'm going to assume it was never changed, and I'm going to automatically mark it off. So don't send me a data. And I'm telling you, the database tomorrow, I know for a fact, you're going to have to go back to the previous one that you did. You're going to have to go back to your demographic, because I'll tell you that in the steps. I'll tell you, go back to the previous database, correct any highlighted areas, remove the highlights, and then go to sheet number 2. I'll tell you what to rename it. I'll give you the information that you're going to put on that sheet. I'll give you the headings that you got to do. And then you're going to have to rename that database with your last name, but you're going to be using a different date. And the reason you're using a different date is because this is a brand new database. So if you're saving it on your flash drive, you're going to have one that says PRAW 07-11-17. Well, the one you're going to do tomorrow is going to say PRAW 07-18-17. So when you go get ready to submit it to me, make sure you choose the right one. Don't send me the one from the 11th. That's the wrong one. You only go back to, when you go back to open up the one from the 11th, you're only going in there to correct your errors and to do the new sheet of information. So you gotta resave it and rename it with a different date, because that's how you even know. Like, say, for instance, if I call you and say, okay, well, Mary, I see some discrepancies with these reports. You ought to be able to go back to your flash drive and say, okay, well, let me pull up the one from the 11th. Okay, well, let me go pull up the one from the 18. Oh, okay. I see what I did. I see what I did. You right. I didn't go back and fix these errors right here, and I need to fix those and send this to you as the update. In other words, you're updating the database. So if you're updating the database, then you got to give it a new date. You can't give it the same date and send that to me. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you what to name the database. I'm going to tell you what you name the sheets and everything. But I'm also, your first set of instructions is going to include, hey, I need you to make sure you go in there and correct your errors, and you have to correct them before you send them to me. If not,
I'm gonna have to come up to the school and use the computers to do mine because I don't get these options on my iPad to come up on the actual.
you don't get those options on your iPad. Where's my iPad? Hold up, let me get my iPad.
On my iPad, it doesn't give me the option to, or I can't find the option to customize.
You can't find an option to customize. Okay. Hold up, I'm looking on my iPad.
Mhm.
All right, so we got like 5 more minutes, and I'm gonna let y'all go because I know Mary, you got another claim.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so while I'm looking up this for Kiana, I can go ahead. I've already told you what you got to do tonight. Midterm threaded discussion, initial post. Okay, and then
What all you said what to do for tonight? The quiz I know is one of them.
the midterm got to be done tonight, and make sure you
I know.
hit the submit button before you send it to me.
Okay.
And then you got to do your initial post on your threaded discussion.
Okay, I was doing that before we started. I ain't finished it yet, but I'm almost there.
Okay, tomorrow you're going to be doing the database. You're going to be doing another database, and just follow the instructions. Okay. I'm not going to be giving you a database like the radiology one. Not tomorrow. We'll kind of do something probably similar to that on Wednesday. Tomorrow, you're strictly going to be just inputting some information for me. Okay? So,
Okay.
just follow your instructions, and then you're going to do quiz number 5. But, of course, that quiz you will have until Friday to do it because you're going to do another quiz on Thursday of this week, and that one we do Sunday. So tomorrow you're going to do a database. That quiz 5 will be open. You can do that if you want to. You got to do your response to your threaded discussion. Wednesday you're going to do another database, and you're going to have your initial post to do for your threaded discussion. Thursday you're going to do quiz 6, or I'll have it open. But your activities to be turned in on that day will be some terms and some case studies. And then you're going to have your response post for your threaded discussion. So that gets us through next week. And then our next go-to meeting, we will talk about what happens that week. Now, that go-to meeting is going to be in the morning.
Okay, what time?
9 a.m.
Okay.
It'll be 9 a.m. in the morning. Yeah. So next Monday we're gonna have to meet at 9 a.m. And then I'll talk about what all is happening that week because that's what I'm gonna talk about, the final project and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So.
Okay.
Now, Kiana, I'm looking up for you. Let's see.
You said next Monday we're gonna meet at 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Formula data. Hmm. Hmm. So let's see. Okay. Okay, so I see what you're saying. Let's see. Um,
I got one more question.
oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, when you were saying like the abbreviations for street and road, were you saying they were supposed to be written out? Avenue, street,
No,
road.
What I'm saying is if you're gonna say street ST, you have to put that period back there.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
okay, I got you.
You can't put commas. You can't just not put nothing. I let it slide on the very first one. I think the very first one was Avenue. I
Mhm.
just kind of let that slide. But after then, no. If you do street, you do ST, you gotta put a period.
And we'll do that. Will we do that for road
Yes, road,
as well?
RD,
Road,
street.
avenue, street.
Road, Avenue,
Okay.
street. You may have drive.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
hmm Okay, so it's not up under there. Okay, it's not up under there. Insert. There it is. Mhm. I see what you're saying because I played around. Oh, hold on. No. Yeah. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna try to help you figure it out on your iPad. 'Cause that's what you're using to do this, Kiana.
Yeah, I was using my iPad to do it, and like on
Mhm.
my database, the only trick I could pull to actually pull that off was to use the capital letter zero
Oh,
for
okay.
the capital letter O for a zero until
No.
I got down into the 12th month, and then I couldn't find any way even putting it in as far as customizing how to do the date. So I left it. I was gonna ask you about it anyway.
Okay, so I see the options. I'm trying to see where you. Oh, okay. Special. No. Zip code. Phone number. Social security. No.
Yeah.
Mm, So they don't have an option for you to customize it. That's the problem.
Mhm.
You can change it to a special thing. It just don't have it where you can cut. I don't see your customized button.
Right.
So I'll try to see if I can find that. And they ought to have it where you can customize, but I don't see it like that. Hmm. Okay, so I need to see where that is. See if I can find it. Okay. I will work on that, and you and I could just talk one on one because Mary's probably more or less gonna use the computer. So
Hmm.
yeah, I will I'll work on I'm gonna make myself a note and I'm gonna sit here and work on that and try to see if I can figure out where your custom button is.
Okay.
And like I said, you and I can talk one on one. Other than that, I don't have anything else for the meeting.
I didn't think the iPads work with Excel. That's why I didn't use my iPad.
iPads,
That's
Oh,
why
it's on there.
the iPads
It's on
I
there.
ain't said one.
they work with Excel, but you're gonna be there a minute. It's gonna take you longer to do it on that iPad. Let me tell
Okay,
you
Hmm.
I'll just stay on my computer.
the reason I say that is because, unless you fancy dancy and got a keyboard and a mouse attached to your iPad, you gonna be there a minute. I can tell you that now. It can be very frustrating. It really can. It's one of those things I do not encourage doing databases on it. I just don't. I totally discourage that because it discourages the students and they become more frustrated and then they just don't do the database at all. And I'd rather, before it gets to that point, I'd rather that you go somewhere that actually has Excel database on a computer and that will be a lot better for you. Because you'll be punching with your finger and you punch the wrong thing or, you know. And so most students, and another thing is normally you will be doing it at a computer anyway because you'll be in class having to do it on the Access database. You wouldn't have a choice. You would have to go somewhere and get and do it. So Excel is just another option, but it's a lot more formatting with Excel versus if you was use the actual Access. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So make sure that tomorrow, when you open up all your attachments, I'll be sure to tell you how many they are. You're going to always get a graded rubric. I'll always, because they'll be labeled tomorrow. Everything tomorrow will be labeled day 9. So, you be kind of like it was last week. Day 9, grading rubric, all of that. The only thing I'm not going to give you, I'm not going to give you an Excel spreadsheet like I did before because you're going tomorrow, unlike Wednesday, you're going to your previous one that you did. So when you open it up, your initials should already be there. Only thing you're going to have to do is fix the errors that are wrong, add the new information, take the highlights out, rename your sheet at the bottom, rename the entire database before you send it to me. So you're going to have quite a few things that you got to do. So, but that's all you're gonna do tomorrow. You won't have anything like a radiology tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but the patient demographic data, yeah, more than likely. Yeah, because on these patients, I got you. I need you to put some information in on them. Okay.
Okay.
All right, ladies. So Kiana, I'll work on that for you. And
Okay.
if I figure it out, don't figure it out either way, I'll call and let you know. If it's something I can send you in a quick text, I'll send it. If it's easier for me to call you, I'll call you.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay? All
Okay.
right, ladies. This is going to conclude our meeting for today. I hope y'all have a wonderful evening and enjoy the rest of your night, okay?
Okay. You
Okay.
too.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.